So I'm Nayla Goodwin. I am a project manager. I have about 10 years experience in project management. I have a previous career to that working in supply chain management, which is, it's kind of funny just in terms of moving into project management because it's all about, sort of bringing chaos and, making it sort of systematic. I've worked in, for retail companies. I've worked in the, fast-moving consumer goods with supermarkets. And yeah, I've also worked in local government as well. That's probably been my biggest experience in terms of project management. Project management is just a very organized way of doing things, in a company. So if a company has, changes that they want to make, or they have, want to find a way of improving sales, something like that. They want to be able to do it in a very organized way. And that's what basically that project management helps to do that. There are different frameworks that you can use in project management, which also help with being able to do project management in a very sort of organized manner. So for instance, you'll have frameworks you'll have like Prince2, for instance. You'll have, I think, PMP over in the US. You have Agile. Agile's a different way of, project management as well. And yeah, I think these different frameworks and methodologies really help to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. So government, for instance, and construction industries will use something like Prince2 and waterfall methodologies, and then you'll have software companies that would want something that's a little bit more agile, and they'll bring in, sort of Kanban boards, and they'll bring in, Scrum methods to be able to help, push their projects forward. Project Management Institute, basically, they did a study and found that around 48% of projects tend to succeed, and then, which is pretty much half the projects, and around 40% sort of hit this grey zone, which is sort of like once the project starts to move, they it might pivot, or it might take a little bit longer, or they might go over budget. So that's sort of the grey zone, and around 40% of projects are sort of in that state. And then around 12% of projects actually completely fail. So there's a lot of, if you think about it, only half the projects, according to PMI, actually succeed, which is a huge problem, really, if you think about, just the financial waste, that comes as a result of project failure. So yeah, I think the companies, they do sort of know this, but it's something that they're sort of burying their head in the sand about it. So yeah, so I think it's there, and they are sort of moving on to try to change things and try to improve things. But I do think that it's just sort of, yeah, I think they're just burying their head in the sand about it. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that AI is going to help with is giving people time. So it's really going to be able to save project managers so much time when it comes to especially the admin work. So if you think about the amount of time that a project manager spends on, putting Gantt charts together, putting the project plans together, so much time is sort of taken up, just going through the business case, going through the PID, going through, the schedules. And I think AI is going to be able to really, like, already AI can do a lot of that. So AI is really going to be able to take on that, all of that sort of grunt work. As a project manager, I think, first of all, project management isn't going to go. Project management is only going to grow, I think, within a company. Well, just the industry itself. I think you would I think as a project manager, you'd want to be testing right now. That's sort of where you want to go. You want to start testing, just experimenting with AI, go into the different tools, see what it can do for you, see, because a lot of it is data dependent as well. So the more data that you have that you can provide to AI, the better output you're going to get, from it. But I think prompt engineering is a massive skill that's going to be required, for project managers into the future, because prompt engineering just allows you to be able to get the best output from AI. A little bit like, when you see people that are great, on Excel spreadsheets and, even dashboards, but when they're able to tell it in a certain way, that's what makes you stand out. And that's what prompt engineering is going to be able to do. So the better you are at prompt engineering, the better output you'll have and the better storytelling you can sort of tell, when you go to your stakeholder meetings, your senior level meetings. I personally think AI is really exciting. I do think it's such an exciting, just being able to have AI do a lot of the work, that does take up so much time. I know a lot of people love that sort of work anyway. But yeah, I think the great thing about it is that I think we're heading into a bright future in terms of project management. And it's things like, when senior management don't have transparency, it really affects the morale, of most people working on those projects. And when you can have project managers that can spend more time on a business case where, we all sort of know the what and the how when it comes to projects. We know what we're doing, we know how to do it, but the why is so important. And I think project managers can really help to just maximize that, really improve it, because the why is what gets people sort of, it's what really motivates people, it gets them going.